I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option, as Sori says. 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of Alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the Village, Facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. So, quick thing. It's been going on for a couple of days. Creed Forever. It looks like you've got... You and your twin sister are thick as thieves, obviously. And I don't know if it's fiance or husband, but you said the brother-in-law has some jealousy issues relative to your guys' relationship. There's just too many variables for me to know what the situation is specifically as far as what I would do. Like, some of it depends on how long he's known you. Like, have you known each other for 5 years or 5 minutes? Depending on what that is, that would change my answer. How long those two have been together would also change my answer. What their experience was like in their previous relationship, I'm talking about the brother-in-law, that would change my answer. So there's just a lot of variables about the situation that I don't know about, that in my view, as a person who's been in 2 long-term serious relationships / marriages, I would have a perspective on. But I would need that kind of information beforehand, because I do not think that there's a quick one-size answer. Some people are going to say, if he can't deal with it, he's insecure, blah, 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 blah. And I understand that perspective. But there also might be very good reasons, at least from his vantage point, for that. So you could send me a couple more details in email. I probably will ask you some more questions. But if it's a major issue like that, I want to respect the sacred nature of all those relationships. You know, your sister, you guys are twin, you shared the same womb at the same time. Like, that's got to create some sort of physical / metaphysical sort of tethering to each other that's impossible to understand unless you're in it. Mm-hmm. But I also understand that relationships, especially if you're trying to be serious, are extremely difficult to navigate. And there's insecurity issues, there's trust issues. That's what I said, like, what is the context? Because I know, like, for me, you know, previous relationship issues definitely rear their ugly head, you know, with us as far as, like, my mindset and things things of that nature. So, you know, a person from the outside looking in, like, what's wrong with this guy? Or whatever. It's like, well, you know, there's some very specific things that happen. And if you're with a person, those things are not necessarily, like, hidden or camouflaged. Like, they're there, and you can choose to look at them or ignore them. So that's kind of how I look at it. And as long as the person's, like, not introducing, like, new shit into the relationship, you can kind of get around it by saying, well, I mean, I saw that from the beginning type of situation. So that's my take on it. I don't want to like disrespect in any of those very important relationships that you have by just throwing something out there when I don't have enough information. Okay.
Oh my gosh, Creed forever. Yeah, I can see why the person would have an issue with that. I understand why you want to. Why she talks to you, though.
She confides in me when they argue.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've been that guy where, like, oh, they'll talk to you if there's an argument. Like, the problem is that he's going to look at you as not being a objective advice giver because you literally shared the same room with her. I mean, people know, like, if they got an issue with Sori, like, I'm not the one to go to. You see what I'm saying? It's like if you got an issue with her, I'm not. You come to me and complain about Sori, like 9.9 times out of 10, I'm gonna be like, man, it's your fault. You did something, blah blah blah. I would never let on that I agreed that Sori wronged you or anybody in any way. Like if me and her are talking privately, like the conversation would be completely different. But I would never project to somebody, yeah, I'm agreeing with you over Sori. That would never. That generally wouldn't happen. And if I did do that. That would be the end of that relationship with that person, whoever they are, male or female. In my life, I'm just saying personally. Go ahead.
I mean, the other thing too is, if I don't know if she was married to this person or whatever, but when you're with someone like and you have your fights, you get past it. But the other people have a harder time doing that because the thing is, you, as in you, Creed, are not in love with her significant other or whatever the person is to her. Right. You love your sister more than you're ever going to probably love that person. So when you hear about their fights and their disagreements, well, for one thing, you're only hearing one side of it, which is her side. So it's going to be slighted. You know, there's a proverb that says, a story sounds like the right story until the second one comes along and you hear the other side of it. It's like, oh, well, we didn't have all those details in there or that other perspective. Mm-hmm. So when she's telling you these issues, these problems, these fights, it's going to start working you up and she's going to forgive the person and they're going to go on their merry way, but you're going to still be salty and sour. That's a lot of times that ends up happening too. So, you know, like one of my friends had said, like, always be careful, like what you say to your friends and your family about your other person because you guys are going to work it out. I mean, it's like when you involve yourself in a domestic situation, like sometimes they both turn on you, you know what I mean? Like, so that's the other thing too, is you got to be careful because she might not be as close to him as she will be. And if you play that middle guy, like you could end up being the one that gets cut off because you don't know where their relationship's going to go. Like, obviously it's best if she keeps all of her family in there, but if it starts being too divisive, you know, she could even do that. You just got to be real careful when you're involving yourself in other people's relationships. It's a real tough thing because you want to hear your sister out and you want to help her, but you got to make sure that guy knows too, you know. I don't know. That's a tricky one. Be careful.
All right. Song numero dos.
Okay, the second song on our list tonight is by a band you may know. It's called Whitechapel. The name of the song is called... Oh, that's interesting. Kin. All right, let's check it out.
That's why we did it that way. Whitechapel. Kin is the name of the song.
Those
DJ Chad is the name of our DJ. Let's do this shiz. Here we go. Aliens.
Country ones.
Remember when we used to be inseparable, and the late nights sitting by the fire. We'd fall asleep knowing we would wake up by each other's side. We never had the fear that we were losing time. Remember the sound of the voice that would call our name. A sense of comfort fell upon our heart. Now the voice fades in the distance. A life changed in an instant. And I can't look at you because it's tearing me apart. And I know you want us to be together. And I know it's hard to accept forever. Our delusion is the easy way out. But it's time for both of us to let this go. I didn't mean to hold you back from moving on. I understand that we can't keep going on like this. Can I just have one last moment to say goodbye? I need to feel them against me one last time. And I know you want us to be together. And I know it's hard to accept forever. Our delusion is the easy way out. But it's time for both of us to let this go.
That was Kin by the band. Was that Whitechapel?
Yeah.
Or Sleep Token?
I thought it was Whitechapel. Let me
Okay.
check that.
Wow. That song was deep.
It was Whitechapel. Yeah.
What'd you think it was about? First of all, that was solo. Talking about solo, top 5 solos. I had a top 5 solo yesterday in the last song, but this song right here had my favorite solo.
It was really good. It was really good. I felt like it was a tribute.
That damn good solo. Really, really good job.
It's obviously like a very sad song. it's two people that used to be inseparable. They'd sit up late by the fire. They would fall asleep knowing that they were going to wake up beside each other. Ooh, it's so sad. We never had the fear that we were losing time. That is a horrible feeling when you feel like you're losing time.
I feel like that every day.
I never used to feel like that, but I do now.
Yeah, you lost all the people that I've lost. It's definitely... Yeah, I started counting time. For sure.
How do they correlate?
Well, when you lose people and you just talk to them like the day before, like one of my friends I was on the phone when he died. You know what I'm saying? Like I just talked to him about him in the previous song. I was on the phone when he actually died.
Oh.
Like, it just makes you realize you never know. You don't have the time with them that you think, I had in my, I'll talk to you tomorrow, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you keep saying that, but people keep dying, like, that's when you start getting crazy about time. And then and that's when shit gets bad for me. I start thinking about the kids or you, like, running through scenarios, like, what would happen, how I would, whatever, and that'll kind of mess you up. But thank God for music to get my mind off of shit. But like when you lose people a lot, like just the I don't know. None of them were really random, I guess, but they felt random. Like somebody gets a diagnosis like cancer or something like that sucks. But it's like you understand that you're on a clock. Yeah. So like to keep losing people in these horrible. I mean, there's just no.
Unexpected.
I don't think there's one of them where it was like, here's the diagnosis, you have X months to live. Like, I've never been in that kind of a situation. It's always, this person died, this person got killed, this person killed themselves, whatever type of thing. So, when it's so sudden like that, without any recourse, that's when you start running shit through your head, like, I'm losing time every day. You know what I'm saying? There's one by Edgar Allan Poe talking about like sand's going through it, sand particles going through his hands or something like that. It was a really, really good one. I just remember feeling, I was like 16 or 17 when I read that. And it was like, yeah, that's how I felt at the time,
Wow.
Like when you have your first, like, yeah, when you have that first situation where it's like, damn, I was just with him yesterday. It makes you a lot more.
Could it have been a dream within a dream?
It just makes you, yeah, it's probably a dream within a dream. I don't know, but like, it makes you a lot more cognizant of the fact that you're not in control of this shit. The people that. It's really terrifying to really come to the conclusion you cannot keep people with you. Like, you have no say over that. Like, when it's their time to go, it's just their time to go. Like, I remember, like, looking at, videos of situations and just being like, obsessing over shit. Like, man, an inch would have made a difference here and here, but, like, it's crazy. You start obsessing over this shit, especially now with all the technology you have, where you can, like, I don't know. I had a mentor told me, he's like, hey, you gotta just learn what you have to learn and move on. Stop obsessing over shit. So I try to do that. I try to, like, learn whatever the thing was, try to be better next time. Mm-hmm. It's like how can you say that? Dude's dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, people, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But.
Wow.
Yeah, not that you didn't think. Yeah, Vlad. Yeah, exactly. Not that you don't think about it before, but it's definitely more of a focus now. And now it's like he's losing a family member, because it's the name of the thing is kin. So I don't know if this is just like he lost a relationship because he talked about waking up by each other's side in verse 1.
Yeah.
And then verse 2 he says, remember the sound of the voice that would call our name. A sense of comfort fell upon our heart. Now the voice fades in the distance. That seems to be like a parent that he
could be,
that he lost. So I don't know if there are multiple losses in this song where he's like just putting them all together. You see what I'm saying? Like I don't know if that's the energy that's going on, but it's definitely people in his inner circle that he can, that are his family. That changes things. I lost 22 years of my life when I was in prison that I could never get back, but I became the man I am now because of it. Yeah.
Sean, honestly, that every time, Vin always listens to different stuff where people end up talking about their time in jail or whatever, like, and that is one thing that stresses me out so much. The idea of going to jail for that amount of time and then coming out when that much time has passed. And you were listening to one last night and they were saying the guy was on his way out and they said, don't read a newspaper, none of that, because you're not gonna be able to sleep the night before and he did, and then he started freaking out. But like, yeah, I think that's like, that was the conclusion. Like every time I think through that scenario, because I have so many kids, like I'm like, oh my gosh, they would be X amount of whatever, blah blah blah, like that happens to so many people that are in that situation. And that was the conclusion that I came to, was that your time in there it's going to change you, but which direction is it going to change you? Is it going to make you into because some of these people that come out of there, like they're so diametrically changed, like you can tell that it wasn't the system that changed them. It was that they decided to utilize a situation that they were in, and they were going to make good from it. So it's cool to hear you say, like you're the person that you are today, and hopefully like you're proud of the person that you are, and you can look and be like, yeah, this is cool, like I did that time and whatever, but like I am who I am. But yeah, wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that was your story.
Yeah, that's crazy too. I didn't know that either. And thank you for sharing that. By the way,
for some reason, you're like 18 or 19 in my head. Every time I see your thing come up,
pretty crazy. Like you'd have never known it. But
yeah,
that tells you a lot about our system. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I don't know what precipitated the 22 years. So I think sometimes there are two responses for living with the dead. Sadie always has such interesting ways of phrasing things. Two responses for living with the dead. Either you become hyper aware of time, or you stop worrying about time completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I knew dudes who were like that. Like they took pretty much the same losses I mean, obviously it was that they took the same losses I did, and they were completely different about it. They were like, yeah. And after that, like I remember like after the first time, like somebody got hit, somebody got shot or whatever over in the hood, like we'd say like be safe at the end of the phone call, or it was big to say, XBM probably remembers this. You would say one, which stood for one love. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like saying I love you before you. Like, that's like one of those like hidden little secrets about the hood. Like, there's a lot of this like hyper masculine, I'm gonna shoot you type shit, and like dudes would literally shoot you. But like, folks really did love each other though. Mm. Like, we really did love each other. We did like. We worried about each other a lot. Everybody worried about everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because you start having these experiences where you say goodbye to somebody, and then you start getting like, we'd start getting like superstitious, like, oh.
I can imagine. Oh my God.
Like, oh, stop marking me. So like, if we're all singing a song together, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna shoot you. Like you couldn't point at somebody with like oh yo, don't mark me. What you on?
Yeah.
We're talking about cutting people. We'd like be doing it like yo, chill, stop. It's just a lot of superstition because we were trying to control something you can't control.
I think that's what happens because you want to know what you can fear. So you want to put the fear in a box that you can understand.
Yeah,
so you're
exactly.
Like, as long as we're not doing any of these superstitious things, we should be good.
That gives us some control.
Did it. Yeah. So as long as nobody does that, we can like tell ourselves that we're safer than we are. But at the end of the day, like it's God that controls. Like you said, it's your time. It's your.
That's why my last trip, like I was really convinced, like yo, this might be it for me, bro.
God.
Because like everything went like the opposite way. Like you never said don't go. The kids never said don't go. and you're like, oh, something's bad gonna happen. Don't go. And the kids are like, Dad, don't go. I'm like, yo.
And was that the same trip? I know
It was the same
That's
trip.
when Shorty said what she said?
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, I hope your plane crashes, blah, blah, blah. Shout out to my ex. I said, I hope it crashes too, bitch, whatever you say. But, like, yeah.
Was I there when she said that, or have you just said the story so vividly I could just picture the whole thing? I feel like it was at my front door, but maybe it wasn't.
Nah, you weren't there. But, like, yeah, you create that superstitious shit to, like,
yeah,
you know, you can kind of control the situation, but, like, you know, losing your family, like, yeah, I try not to think about that shit, but, you know, it's like Chad was saying with James 4, you know, you say you're gonna go to this city, and you know, and James goes, you should say, Inshallah,
right.
if the Lord wills,
yeah,
we will live and go to this city and do this or that.
I thought that the teacher earlier, when he said that, I was like, oh, that's cool to hear it, because I feel like that's one thing that Islam does better than Christians, is that they say that, inshallah, like,
yeah,
they say, and he said, like, this is what we're going to teach on next week, you know, if we're alive next
inshallah,
week.
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I feel like that we, you know, because at the end of the day, that's it. If God wills it, then it's going to be, and if not, it's not. But
that's what I picked up rolling with them dudes. Like, I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm with that. Inshallah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm with that. Although, I mean, they would use it mostly to
ways.
excuse.
Yeah.
They would mostly excuse themselves. Like, if they said inshallah, then they were not going to meet you at the restaurant. Like, it was just not going to happen.
My cousins would say, we might go. That sounds fun. We might. That means they're absolutely not going to be there.
Sean says, I spent most of my time in prison trying to kill a pedophile, 14 years to be exact. I mean...
For trying to kill a pedophile?
Yeah, he tried to kill a pedophile. So he got 14 years. He got jammed up for 14 years on that shit. I mean, no comment.
You don't want to ask us what we think about all of that.
No comment.
Yeah.
What do you get the song? The song was deep, man. It was kind of a tear jerky type of song.
It was a completely emotional song. So for me, I understand
felt like
where
he was talking about his parents, probably.
Yeah, I could see how. Plus, it's called Kin. But of course, for me, it turned into a relationship song, and then like the idea of them being so close and like that, because like at the beginning, like when you first get married and it's like husband, wife, you know what I mean, like that whole thing. Like I thought it was like one of those where like they couldn't wait to see each other in the morning and all that stuff. And then like he was saying like it's better for us to, it's easier to live in delusion than to actually, you know, call it for what it is. So I felt like that their relationship was like, it was over, but they were still trying to like hold on to it. And the way to hold on to it was to live in the delusion that it wasn't as bad as it actually was. And then when he did, he was saying, I know that you don't, forever seems too long. I know you want us to be together, and I know it's hard to accept forever. Our delusion is the easy way out, but it's time for both of us to let this go. So to me, it sounded like he was making the decision that it was going to be the end of their relationship. And then he plays that part at the end, which was just crazy. And so I thought it was like, it confirmed what I already thought the song was about. So then I thought it was like a tribute to her, like, and their relationship, you know what I mean? Like, this is it. And it was like the final, which was just really depressing. Anyway, it was a really good song though. But that's sad. But see, I guess to me, like, I don't understand if it's a sibling song. Like, you'd have to be twins for it to be that close, right? I mean, we all understand as kids, you're not going to live forever with your siblings. Like, you know that.
I think he's talking about his parents.
Oh! Are they dying, you think?
I think they're dead. I think it was about him letting go of his parents who died. That's what it looks like to me. It looked like he's talking about his parents, and, you know, because he's talking about the comforting voice and all the rest of it.
Oh my gosh, okay, I didn't mean to hold you back from moving on. I understand that we can't keep going on like this. It's like when the person is like, it's time for them to die, but they're holding on. Like,
a lot of people
hold
think
on.
like because people are holding on, like not accepting the death, that the person's spirit can't move on. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to accept your death so you can go type of thing.
Yeah. That would happen when we were in, when I worked in the hospital. People would hold on until somebody showed up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but what they're talking about is like crossing over into the
they've already
stuck in a limbo.
Yeah,
they're kind of stuck in a limbo situation until the living person can let them go, can release them. Basically, is the idea.
Oh, okay.
Like you're not accepting the death, so the other person can't move on. It's a way of motivating people to deal with the closure. And
is that what you think it is?
Well, yeah. Just like I say, like superstition is a way of controlling events you can't control. Those kinds of ideas are, in my view, a way of trying to motivate people to initiate the closure process. I mean, obviously, I don't believe that people kind of like people's afterlife is contingent on how people in this life, handle it.
No, I don't think so either. But I always wonder if like those people can see us, and if they can, like, are they in such eternal bliss that they can't see our suffering? And if that's the case. Okay, but that seems weird.
If God is merciful, then I don't think he'd let them see or feel our suffering. As far as like missing them and all that stuff, I don't think God would reveal that part of it to them. I mean, I don't know. I don't know like how there really isn't a lot about how the dead relate. You know what I'm saying? So, but there's nothing in Scripture that says like you're going to be held hostage in some sort of gray middle. Intermediate area until the person accepts the fact that you're gone. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's a crazy thing, like accepting that somebody's gone. It really. I don't know. There's a couple people I haven't accepted that they're gone. So.
Yeah. Jeez, it's so like, it's weird because I feel like that there's this giant gap between like you and I on that topic because I've never been through the things that you've been through. So like I'm relating to what you're saying through your words and through what I have for those experiences, but nothing, they just don't, the stuff that you've been through is just, it's a lot.
A lot of it's self-inflicted. So, I don't complain about it.
Oh, some of them, but
I don't complain about it. So. Everybody knew what they were doing for the most part. All right, what
9.8 for me.
Yeah, this is strong, and the solo was incredible. 9.8 as well. 9.8 as well. Definitely.
9.9. The solo.
That solo was insane.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say solo.
So then I'm still gonna say
solo of the year for me. I
still think it's a tribute. I think it's a tribute to the parents.
Oh yeah. No, I agree.
It definitely sounded like a tribute.
I agree for sure.
She's your girl. Always makes everything into a
We shall return, dear listener. More metal on the way. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone. We shall return.